Hey everybody, welcome back. And bike season has unfortunately come to an end. So we're going to have to do other things until we can ride again. So I was going to just show you, thanks for tuning in. I was just going to show you one of my other pastimes. And what I do is I take things like this and I turn them into things like this. And so I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, follow along. Okay, so the first thing I do is I crush the cans down to a more usable size, because when they're this big, it's hard to use, like, it's just not as efficient. So I get a can crusher, and I'm thinking of getting a better one day, and I crush them down, and I add them into the old bucket. Take a can, crush them down. And how do I get enough cans? Well, I had some people donate cans. People have been saving me cans. Like, this whole bag was full. I had 2 bags like this absolutely full. So I've been doing this for a bit. And yeah, so that's the first thing you do. Crush them down so that they're in a good usable size. And you're going to see why I need to do that later. So I need lots and lots of cans. Okay, so this is my smelting furnace. And it gets pretty hot. I haven't got into copper or bronze or anything like that yet, but for the aluminum, I think it's a good learning experience to start. So you take your cans, and if you can see down in here, it's good and hot. There's already some melted aluminum in there right now that I left over from the last batch. So I take my cans and throw them in. And the reason you want them crushed is so you can fit more in at a time. If they weren't crushed, I could only fit 1 can at a time in there. So I put a bunch of them in. You can see how I could fit 5 or 6 in there. And then I can cover that up. And it doesn't take very long to cook those down. And it all melts, and then I scoop off all the impurities and the dross that you can see in here. Okay, so when it melts down these cans have a lot of paint and a lining inside and all kinds of crap, so that stuff all burns up into like an ash mixed with the aluminum, and it floats on top, so you have to scoop that off, and it's called dross, and you can see it in here. There's a little bit of aluminum there, but it's mostly just all the waste product from the aluminum, so you scoop that all off in there, and then what's left after is pure aluminum in the bottom, which we're going to pour into molds. See, I can stick them down in there even. If they're crushed small enough, I can fit them through the hole too. And the ones that I can't, then I have to take the lid off for. I just keep poking them down there, melting them down. And we're just gonna get some real good aluminum. Thank you very much. That I'm literally melting down in there. Now you don't want to stir it up too much, because you put too much oxygen in the aluminum, then it gets bubbles in it. You just want to gently take the burnt waste product off, and you can see underneath the pure stuff. So there's the crap. Okay. Maybe I could wait a little longer, because that dross still has some aluminum in it, but just trying to show you here. You can see the pure stuff at the bottom there. So I like to just, you don't want to constantly scoop the stuff out. See, that still has a lot of aluminum in it, so I'm going to let that sit for a bit. And we'll just put some more cans. Melt. Get melted down. You can watch how quickly they actually melt down. It's burning off the paint and the lining that's inside the cans and all that. And then what's left is nothing but pure aluminum. There. So if I push push it down into the melted aluminum a bit. It goes a little faster, but you're also mixing more dross and oxygen or air into the aluminum. So if you do that too much, you're going to get bubbles in your aluminum. So this is where it takes a little bit of patience, because most people are tempted to just keep cramming the cans in as fast as they can and shoving them down. But really it's good to kind of take your time and let them melt down and let that aluminum separate from all the other stuff, so that it will settle down, and the aluminum's heavier, so it'll trickle its way down. But if you keep cramming more and more cans in, you're not only causing problems with your aluminum by getting too much gas and dross in it, but you're also not giving all the aluminum in the cans a chance to separate completely. I also use a little bit of salt. Some people use borax and things like that. I found salt works pretty good. Sprinkle a little salt in it, helps it, the aluminum to separate from the dross, and again sink to the bottom of the crucible, so that you can scoop cleaner dross off the top without it being full of aluminum. Well, all my cans are gone. I just took the bucket inside. All the crushed cans that I have crushed so far. I don't have time to crush more, but if I need more cans, I got lots, because I've got all of these huge bags full of blank tall boy cans, which are really nice once I start getting into these, because they're completely blank. It's pure aluminum, and there might be a little bit of a coating inside, but there's no paint or any of that crap, so this is going to be a lot cleaner to melt. And as you can see, I've got bags and bags of them, and I can get more where that came from. It was a donation from a craft brewery that can't use the cans anymore, so they're just set for scrap, and he says he got like 10 more skids. This was one skid. So I've got plenty where that came from. So I got gazillion blank tallboy cans. I don't think I really need to crush them. It saves me just sitting here and staring at the thing, waiting for them to melt, but I just keep putting one at a time in there. And you can tell, you can't see it, but maybe they didn't put a coating on these, but it only flares up for a second and then she just melts right down. So it's about the cleanest stuff I have to melt right now. You can tell it still flames up at first, but then she goes. Melts pretty quick. That. Okay, so I think I got a decent amount of aluminum in there now. I've cleaned off the dross, and now I'm just heating up my ingots. You got to get the ingots good and hot to make sure, one, there's no moisture in them at all, because if there's like a drop of water in there when you pour the ingot mold, it could literally explode molten metal all over you. So that's why I'm wearing all this PPE, just in case anything ever happened. So we're going to heat up these molds, and then we're going to heat up my tongs, and then we're going to pour some ingots. Yeah, those ingots are good and hot, and now I gotta kind of hurry, but I need to warm those up a bit before I pull that out. Now I get my spaceman suit on. Going in. for safekeeping. That is still molten hot. So you just keep it in there so it doesn't crack the brick or anything. Whew. Looks like I got 5 in a bit, and I'll just use that bit for the next melt. I never quite get 6. I'm always trying to get enough for 6. I never get enough. So next time we'll melt some more cans and get it a little fuller. You can see we got all our dross there. Not too bad. Like I said, the blank tall boys didn't put off as much dross. And now I'm going to let those cool. Some guys will dunk in them water. If it was dark right now, you'd see these are glowing red. The molds are red right now. They're actually glowing red. You can see a little bit of reddish tinge. But I've done this at night, and those actually literally glow red right now. That's how hot they are. So I don't bother dunking them in water or anything. I just go turn everything off, go inside, let them cool down. I come out later, and then I'll show you the ingots. So I've left these out for quite a while. You can see it's dark out now. I just kind of forgot about them for a while and just came back later to get them. So they're still too hot to handle by hand, but you can take them out now, and they come out quite easily. And one more. And there we go. I got 5 more ingots, and then this is just a little guy, which I'll probably throw that back in the pot for the next melt. So yeah, these are actually still too warm. I can actually feel the heat through this glove. They're still that warm. I could leave these out for another 10-15 minutes out of the mold, and they would cool down quite a bit. So I'm not in a hurry, so maybe I'll do that. But there you have it. You can see nice ingots, and then they're a little bumpy and rough on top. So what I do is I just hit that with a wire brush, and we'll do that later. And it just kind of makes it feel nice and smooth, and then we can go from there. Aluminum ingots from old pop cans. So once the ingots are cool, the top of them is quite rough. So what we're going to do is grind it down a little bit. So I am working on getting more efficient methods, but just for right now I only have the grinding wheel. But I'm going to experiment with some other things in the future as I get better equipment. But you keep grinding it down with the 40, and then you go to the 80, and then you go to the 120. And finally I'm going to try this kind of a polishing wheel. See how this goes. So I'll get better at it in time. I don't have enough. Like the 120 brings it up pretty nice. I could probably even buff that down a little bit more, but there was a little bit of gas in this particular batch of aluminum. But they're polishing down quite nice. And I'll spend more time. I'll go around all 4 sides and get them polished down a little bit more. And then at some point, which I haven't got to yet, I might think about engraving something in there, getting it a nicer shape, and engraving some words of wisdom and a design or something like that. Because I don't really think it's practical to just like take that to a scrapyard and sell it. They're not even going to take it. They won't take it. And so maybe crafters or artisans may want to buy them just to melt down, and if it's someone just wants to buy them to melt them down to do their own casting or crafts, I could just sell a rough ingot like that. I don't have to sell a nice one. But these I'm thinking of, making up nice and just giving them as nice keepsakes for family, maybe for a Christmas present or something like that. So it's just for the fun of making them. They're really nice and smooth. But we'll see where it goes from here. But that's kind of what I've been doing, and I'm just getting a whole bunch of these saved up. So for what it's worth, I've got them sort of set out in the shop. You never know, maybe somebody wants to buy them for whatever reason. So I've got these ones for $5 each. Perfect 3003 series aluminum, and they can use them for casting or whatever. Or you can get a nice shiny polished one like I was doing for $10. And then maybe when I get into the engraved ones, we'll see what'll happen from there. But that's as far as I got so far. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Freedom calls, he sets the pace. Baldbikers ride, it's a wild chase.